communities begins the same very way. Someone sees what could be. 20 years ago, WMI was an idea, a belief in what could happen when we invest in education and the potential of a young person. Today, all we have to do is look around this room and we can see how an idea grows. And now the question belongs to you. What can you see that doesn't exist yet? What can you see that doesn't exist yet? What can you imagine for your community, your profession, your country, for the people around you? What can you see that doesn't exist? Maybe you already have an idea. Maybe you see a problem that you want to solve, or an opportunity that you want to create. Or maybe you don't know yet, and that's okay, because the next 5 days are about discovery. You are surrounded by your fellow peers from different countries, professions, cultures, and everyone with an array of experience. People who can encourage you, challenge you, teach you, and perhaps help you to see things that you couldn't see before. To do this, I encourage you to meet someone, learn something, and share. Meet someone you otherwise may never have known. Learn something that expands the way you think, and share something, your experiences, your ideas, and your dreams. And while you're doing all that, enjoy. Enjoy this moment. Enjoy tonight. Enjoy the next 4 days. This is a special time together. Be present. Set down the phone. Except for, of course, checking Bonnie Mark, Isaac's, Mala's, Successes, Phoebe's, Joyce's, Elizabeth, Liz's, Rachel's, and the full team's announcements. Laugh together. Take photos. Have conversations. Celebrate one another. Thank one another for all that you bring to this incredible community. We only get so many opportunities. We only get so many opportunities in life to gather like this. And they are divine, divine moments. This line wasn't in my speech, that these are divine moments. This line came from Richard, our driver for DBC and a friend of WMI and the Wells family for over 10 years. He pointed this out to me on my drive to campus. So today, here and now, we are here. And all of our Rwandan friends are still on the bus, but they're going to get here. And it's an incredible, extraordinary place to be. So on behalf of everyone who supports WMI and believes in our mission and in our vision, who are here with us tonight, who are many, who will join us on campus throughout these 4 days, but also those of us, those who are here in spirit, those who are here in spirit because of you all. We are here because of each and every one of you. We are proud of you, we believe in you, and we are incredibly happy to be here. So with that, enjoy the days ahead, and we can't wait for all that's to come. Thank you all.
What an amazing speech from our Executive Director, Nicole Baker. Thank you much for such an enlightening speech. I think we've all picked a word or two from that.
Hello. Okay, thank you so very much once again, our Executive Director. That was a very inspirational speech, I must say. I don't know about you, but I picked a lot. The divine bit really touched me, and I believe we're all touched as well. Thank you very much once again, Haidi. We are very much grateful for all that you do and continue to do for the World's Mountains Initiative. We want to appreciate our special guest. Can we please, let's give some round of applause for our special guest. We also want to appreciate our members of the board and advisory board present here. We want to appreciate them. They came with their families, so let's please appreciate them. Our board and advisory board members together with their families. And we also want to appreciate our dedicated staff. Our executive director made mention of their names. We have our education manager in the person of Elizabeth. We are very much grateful, our regional coordinators. We are very much grateful, our co-chair, who happens to be the seed grant coordinator. He does amazing work. Let's give it up for Mr. Bonnie Alinga. We thank you very much for all that you do. And all participants here today, if you hadn't come or if you hadn't attended this conference, we would have had an empty auditorium. So please, let's clap for ourselves for taking time out of our busy schedules to attend DBC 2026. We are very grateful for your presence and for the support you continue to give us.
At this time, I'd like to invite our DBC co-chair, who is none other than Mr. Bonnie Alinga, that was working in hand with Madame Liz Josiah in her absentia. I'd like to welcome them to tell us what we should expect of this event, what the overview is to be, where we are going to have our meals, who is to speak to us. He's going to tell us everything right now. So let us give him a round of applause as he proceeds to the stage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our distinguished chair, board, founders of WMI, the board members present here, you, the alumni, the scholars, the team behind the scene, the staffing that has put this together. But most importantly, the dreamers, the world star, the superstars, as our Papa Tom rightly puts it, gathered here this evening. Isn't it surprising to see that receiving a scholarship is not just a financial support? Knowing that is a vote of confidence that the stranger, the person who knows you not, believed and gave you the opportunity to be here today and sponsored your trip. To come and attend this conference. Tonight, Dream Big Conference makes the 4th year. And I want us to remember this in this very room as we sit here for the 2nd consecutive years in Dream Big's conference, filled with people who love education, who love community impact, and to whom someone saw that you are worthy, not of the circumstances that you have gone through, but rather a light in that community. I want us to live as we enjoy this conference, asking one important question: what will we do with it? What will you do with this conference? With over 40 facilitators brought on campus in the next couple of days that you're spending here, what will you do with it? With over 60 workshops, sessions being organized here, what will you do with it? As the co-chair of this conference and standing before you, the excitement is real. Serving for the very first time in my 4th DBC, it is a worthy journey, an incredible opportunity that only WMI wouldn't, if it was not because of it, then I wouldn't have been here organizing a global conference, hosting all of you here. But because of this, we are not only gathering here, but the gatherers of dreams that survived every aspect of that challenge, the geographical location, the resources, and dreams that became business, dreams that became degrees, dreams that became organizations, and most importantly, dreams that transformed lives within our community. Our theme, as the MCs stated, rooted in learning, rising in leadership, scaling local impact. First, we learn. Second, we rise. Thirdly, and ultimately, we impact. So the 3, 4, 5 days you will be spending here, we are all learning. We are getting it home. We are driving that impact home, and we are getting home with something that will incredibly change our lives and change our perspective. Did I mention that we have leadership and community impact as workshops? More than 10 topics coming from there. Did I mention that we have health, science, and systems? Or did I forget to mention that we have careers, entrepreneurs, and innovation in this conference? All fully packed. With your presence being here, you will have the very best of this conference. But the question still lingers. How can I use what I am learning from here? Will I use it to change where I live? Will I use it to transform my personal life, the community, and the global world that we live in? What are we taking from here? We have built the Hoover system. You have never used the digital platform for this conference, and all-in-one system, the announcements, the connection, the buzzing chats that all of you have been. I think the top congratulatory winner is Tatiana with the highest. So stay connected, stay informed, stay engaged, because that is the only opportunity that WMI gives you and uniquely gives it to you. To our team leader, the executive director, Nicole Becker, we can't thank you enough. You didn't just see the potential in the co-chairs. You're a leader who does not only see the staff to give a contribution, but engages them to actually explore their growth, their capacity, and their potential to deliver. You are an epitome of a leader. We are glad to serve under your leadership. Thank you for the opportunity. Sometimes one opportunity is not the destination, but rather the doorway to many more other opportunities. WMI gives us exactly that. It gives you opportunity to learn, sponsorship, university education, opportunity for a job, and opportunity to explore your potential. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome us for our dinner tonight. And all our dinners will be at the school, at the student center. All our workshops will be at a very spacious place where only the VCs. So if you're going there tomorrow morning, know that that place, only the vice chancellors. And today they have hosted over 70 vice chancellors across. So you are a special person in a special place, by a special organization, and a special founder. Let us learn, let us connect, let us rise. And together, let us make our communities better and be that fountain of change. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for such an inspiring speech, Mr. Bonimark Alinga. I think he has told us where to expect to have our meals, what to expect of this conference. But before you warm that seat, I'd like to call you up on the stage once more. Now, Mr. Bonimark Alinga has the opportunity tonight to call upon the WMI founders, that is Papa Tom and Mama Carol Wells, to give us a speech. Please take the stage.
What an incredible opportunity to not only be a beneficiary, but have the singular honor to introduce a very composed founder member of the World's Mountain Initiative, the visionary leader, an entrepreneur. Did I forget that is Anthony Richard? A council that has led, the founder and chair of Wells Mountain Initiative. For more than 4 decades, Tom Wells has built a very distinguished career in law. For the lawyers here, they know. Business. 40 years ago, he founded Wells, Jaworski and Lehman, a law firm where he practiced primarily in business and real estate law. Before retiring, through his life career, he has founded and operated more than dozens of businesses, business entities, and served on various boards. Tom holds a bachelor's degree from Bucknell's University and Juris Doctor degree from Case Western Reserve University School of Law. His professional accomplishments are complemented in various long-standing commitment to community service. He has been a long-term member of Rotary International, where I belong and subscribed, and a lifelong member of YMCA, where he has held numerous board positions. His dedication brought you here. His service and leadership has earned him significant recognition. In 2015, Tom received the Bucknell's University Distinguished Citizens Award for his service and leadership. More recently, Middlebury College awarded him an honorary doctorate of human letters, recognizing his contributions to education, philanthropy, and leadership. In 2005, Tom founded the amazing Wells Mountain Initiative, driven by a vision that extended far beyond providing scholarship. He believed that investing in young people meant investing in them as partners. No wonder all the young people he has invested in has turned to be the staff in the very organization. And change makers capable of transforming their communities. You not excluded. The vision has grown in the global movement. Today, Wells Mountain Initiative has supported more than 1,000 scholars from over 56 countries, providing young people with opportunities to pursue their higher education. At the heart of Tom, it is a simple yet a very powerful call to action. Dream, plan, do. Dream, plan, do. As we gather today, we are privileged to hear from the founders of an organization that has changed the lives of thousands of young people across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome our amazing father, our amazing founder, and a man who walked the vision, the attorney, the entrepreneur, to come and grace our welcoming ceremony tonight.
I don't walk so good anymore. Wow. I wrote a speech for today. I don't usually write speeches. I usually just talk from notes. And the reason I wrote this speech is because not just those of us here, but there's 800 of you that are not here. There's 1,000 scholars this year. I'm so excited to reach that number, 1,000. Isn't that cool? 1,000. But I listened to the extraordinary Nicole speak a few minutes ago. And I had been thinking to myself, you know, this is 4 years, 4 times that I've given the opening keynote speech for this thing. And I'm thinking, I'm getting kind of old and I walk too good. I don't know whether I can do this again 3 years from now. And I realized I don't have to. She said so much of what I'm going to say to you. And she said it so well. And I'm so proud of her. Likewise, Mark, you want me to hold it closer? I think they can hear me, but I will. Likewise, Bonnie Mark in his eloquence told you a few minutes ago that this is a bunch of special people at a special time, in a special place, in a special institution. Can you say it any better than that? It's so well said. So what I'm going to do, that speech that I wrote, it's going to get put on the online eventually because the other people want to see it anyway. I'm going to rip it up, okay? I'm going to just ramble from my heart here for a few minutes because there's a few things that have hit me just today. I'll try to catch the important stuff that I would have said anyway, but I want to rip up the speech. The reason I want to rip it up is because of a couple of things that are working through my head. I had the opportunity this afternoon to start to sign some of those books that I wrote for some of you, and Carol sat next to me, or actually stood next to me. I couldn't stand, she could stand, stood next to me, and we took some pictures with some people, and I wrote notes in the books. And I had that privilege that I've had before at these DBC conferences that's so special to me. And that is to hear from you, to have some of you come up to me, and I hope to have an opportunity to speak to every single one of you while I'm here at the conference. And the book gives me a great opportunity to do it, and to hear your stories, for you to tell me when you were struggling and halfway through school, you didn't have enough money to get through the rest, and you got that notice about the scholarship, and it changed everything for you. Changed everything, but didn't change anything. What it did is gave you some money and some structure and some support, but it also, it allowed you to be what you already wanted to be, what was already in your heart. And that's what we try to do, is unlock that in young, deserving people, especially in the developing world. That's what we're all about. And hearing from some of you, some with tears in their eyes, others not able to speak so well about it, over and over again, is such a gift to Carol and I. It makes me cry every time I hear it, because it's very special. And I feel, in my way, I'm a religious person. We all aren't, but we all, most of us worship the same God, but I feel very deeply blessed to be able to be a part of what you succeed. And I've said to many of you individually, but I can say to all of you again, that when you dream, plan, do, when you succeed, you don't just succeed in your dream, you succeed in my dream, because my dream is to enable you. So every time one of you wants to say thank you, I want to say right back to you, thank you. Thank you for helping me fulfill my dream. And a minute ago, I started to think to myself, I got to talk for a minute about how important women in my life. And just talk about, it occurred to me to talk about 4 extraordinary women. But then Bonnie Mark was so good. And I said, gosh, I can't leave out the men. And I shouldn't leave out all you guys either, even though I will admit that as the father of 3 daughters and having a very wonderful partner in my life, my wife, Carol, Mama Carol, that I'm a feminist. I mean, I really believe in women. I believe in women and what they can accomplish. I wish they were more involved than they are now in political leadership, because I think they bring not just logic and intelligence, but a certain compassion that fortunately, us guys, we don't seem to have it quite as figured out. So I admit I'm a kind of a feminist. I admit that amongst you guys, but I will also tell you along the way, never underestimate those women, because they're a powerful force, and they can be a powerful force in leading. And I have been blessed with a powerful force in not just a leader, but a supporter. So those 4 women I was going to take a minute to talk to you about are not my wife and 3 daughters. And if they hear this speech, I love you guys too, and very proud of you. But the other women that I thought I'd mention for a minute or touch base on again, is to say again how blessed I feel to have Nicole as the executive director. Nicole and I go back a while. She said she lived in the little town of Bristol, Vermont. Well, Carol and I also lived there. Even though I had a big city law practice based in New York City, I lived in Vermont, commuted back and forth. And I met Nicole as a teenager. She was a teenager who wanted to be an exchange student to Europe. And she went. And I met this extraordinarily intelligent, ambitious young lady. And I thought, boy, she's going to do something. And not all that many years later, she had graduated from college. She'd been very successful. And she came in and said, what's this WMI thing? I think I'll do some reviews and interviews, go through applications. And then she interviewed Carol for whether or not she should do it. And she came on board, first part-time, then more part-time, and then full-time. And she's been a blessing ever since. This year, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about board stuff, but this is good for you too. You can learn about how an organization runs. We're a real nonprofit corporation. We have a board of directors, and we have some extraordinary people here with you. And I want to take a minute, in a few minutes, to reintroduce them. But I want to say to you that part of our process is to analyze ourselves and what we've accomplished and what we can accomplish. In governance parlance, that's called doing a strategic plan. So we hired outside consultants, we interviewed ourselves and a lot of other folks, and we studied who we are and what we can become. We learned some important things. We do a lot of things really well. We can do some things better. We also know now, as we've felt for a while, that we needed to transist as an organization. We were what was called a founder-led organization. It started out with me, and Carol quickly came in and helped me, and my daughter Jordan. So we had 3 founders, and we led it, and then we didn't even have any employees in the beginning. And then things changed, and we got more and more sophisticated. Nicole and other folks came on board, and now you see the fantastic staff that we have. Well, we need to transist completely to an organization run by our staff, where the executive director is really the cohesive thing that keeps us going. And that doesn't mean Nicole has to stay for life, but if she doesn't, I'm going to shoot her. But it means that we need to be an organization that has a coherent path forward. And boards of directors are very important, and they support the organization. And they also do a lot to help us fundraise, which is an important part of what we do. But they should be advisors to the staff, not the other way around. So we're in transition, and Nicole has helped us make that transition, and had made me feel totally excited about our future. Whereas not so many years ago, I was delighted by our past and a little bit worried about our future. So another extraordinary woman I want to speak about for a minute is Dr. Mary Romney Clark. Where are you, Mary? Mary, stand up, please. She's not so tall, so even I tell Mary that if I'm the founder, she's the godmother, because she came on board, on our board a number of years ago, and she's been a force for so many good things amongst of what we've become. She is the godmother of Women in White Coats, which has an awful lot to do with the success of a lot of women like she is, a doctor and in a caring profession. So she's been invaluable in that part of it. She's been back here to DBC with us. She's also been a very important part of the governance. And while I am chairman of the board, she is the vice chairman of the board. So I have a woman right behind me, backing me up. These extraordinary women are an awfully important part of what we are as an organization. So I've diverted myself quite a bit, but I also want to go back and do a few other things that I think are important. You met a couple different ways because they needed to stand up. I'm going to pull a page. Grab your manual if you can, your program. Oh, there's a page in there called Meet Our Board and Advisory Board. Find it. I'm going to because I don't stand so well, I'm starting to have it. I'm going to sit. Okay. See those guys? Now you know who you are. Stand up. Every one of you. Every one of you. Lisa, Gail. They know it is. And Gail right next to her, and Mary in the back, and Gwenaëlle in the back, way back, who is from Haiti and Canada, and Sinel, and right behind them, and right here. Oh, your daughter can stand up too. Meg, and her daughter, and what? Cousin. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not cousin. I'm cousin. Who am I missing? No, I got Lisa. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, stand up. Okay. The reason I want to hold these guys up is because in order to run an organization like this, we have folks on the other side, the board, our board, and their families and supporters. They came all the way to be here. They care a lot. So the reason I wanted them to stand up is because I want you to make a particular effort. I told them the same thing, so I'm not just putting it on you. I want you to make a particular effort to meet these people. In other words, go out of your way, even if you're not a person who's comfortable just walking up and saying, hi, I'm such and such, do it. Meet these people, because they've come from on the other side of the ocean, and they're a lot about what we do. And when they go home and they speak to the rest of the board and so forth, in a sense, they get to represent you and what's happened here. So that's why I want to hold them out for thanks for all of you being here, and to all of you say, please go out of your way to introduce yourself to them. And then, see, I'm going to give them a test at the end. And I'm going to say, who did you meet? Did you meet everybody? Okay. Thanks, guys. You can sit down. Okay, I have one other thing that I was going to do during the course of my speech, and I'm remembering the things that I wrote down. But the first 3 times I spoke to you, I gave sort of my standards. I won't call it a pep talk, but it's a lot of the same stuff that you've heard from Papa Tom for a long time. Dream, plan, do, and give back. Those are themes with me. If anybody read my rather inappropriately named memoir, Naked on the Highway. It's just so you know, I was actually never naked on the highway, but I wrote a memoir, and it tells a lot about a lot of things, and it tells a lot about you guys. But in that book, you can tell that dream, plan, do, and giving back is kind of what I'm all about. And therefore, it's a little bit what WMI is all about. I think it's terribly important. I also tell in the book that I like to make lists when I start to work on things. So the very first time we had a Dream Big Conference in 2015, it was here in Nairobi too, not here at this school, but at another convent outside of town. And at that point, we were 10 years old. And believe it or not, we had accomplished my big goal in the first 10 years, which was to have 100 scholars. We now have 1,000. Wow. You know, so in the 10 years, we went from 100 to 1,000. But when we had that 100, we had our first in-gathering, and 50 people came. So I spoke to them and talked to them about the importance of education. I kind of got in my giving back thing. And we came up with the Dream, Plan, Do motto that's been around ever since then. 3 years later, in 2018, I improved on what was originally 4 things. I'll tell you what the 4th one was so I can be consistent here. The 4th thing and the first thing was that the anthropologist Margaret Mead's saying that you always count on a small group to accomplish things. That was the 4th thing. So then I turned it into 12 principles. So you've got your book in front of you again. Find those 12 principles. Find them. I'll tell you what it looks like. Hey, no. Mama Carol, help me. It's not far in. Page 5. Okay. So if you were here any of the other times, you would have heard me give you the pep talk and tell you how to, yeah, thanks. How to try to live your life, if possible, with these 12 principles in mind. And my suggestion was that it would be a pretty successful life. Now, I haven't modified them too much, so I'm going to refer you to them again and tell you still think they're important. Like the first one says, what you're doing right now, and I appreciate it. Listen more, talk less. Not a bad thing to do. Anyway, those are 12 principles that I thought were important and perfected enough in 2018 to present to the scholars then. And since a lot of you have changed over, I'm just going to advocate those again. In 2023, when I was in this very room, I spoke to you about telling your story, telling your story. And the reason I did that was because I think, and I know better than actually any of you and a lot of people, because I've read an awful lot of your stories. I've read so many applications over the years, not every single one, certainly, because there've been probably as many as 25,000 applications for the positions that for the 1,000 of you that exist. But in those stories, I got the inspiration that I talked to you about a few minutes ago. And those stories are extraordinary. And so I said, tell your stories. And I still commend that to you. Don't, one of the ways that you can give back, and I've said that to a few of our scholars that have been around a few years, that who have accomplished things already, is by pushing backward, by being mentors for those who are following you. Nicole told you a few minutes ago how many of our staff, I think it's 7 of our staff, are former scholars. That's by intention. We did that on purpose because you guys are great. You are superstars. So we want you back working for us, but we also want you out in the world making a difference and changing the world. And by doing what I'm suggesting here, by telling your story, you're doing others a favor. So when you've been through some adversity, and even if you haven't, even if you just worked extra hard and got something done, please share the story. Tell other people. And when you tell other people, that helps to motivate them to be their very best self. So that was my message 3 years ago. One thing, well, part of that was I told everybody then that we were going to come up on 20 years. We're here now. And I said, I'll tell the story. So I wrote the book. And the book is, it's the WMI story, and that's important. And it tells, the good and the bad and how we grew and who was our first executive director and who worked for who and what was hard and what wasn't hard. So it's details like that. It's also lots and lots of pictures. So those of you who have been around for a while, you might see your picture in there and see what you looked like a few years ago. But it's got an appendix in the back, and it's got all kinds of stuff there. We gave a copy of the book to you because it's going to be for at least a little while until we revise it again, sort of, a guide to what WMI is. But more important than everything I just told you that's in the book is it's full of your stories. We shared a bunch of your stories, asked who wanted to write their story. Some people did. We chose 12 of those. So the middle chapter in the book that I consider the most important chapter is stories told by former scholars about their own story, and those vary. And when you get a chance to read the book, if you want to skip ahead, Bonnie Mark's story's in there. He wrote it, and it's a cool story. So, what is the book? The book is our story. The WMI story about how we grew from one scholarship to 1,000, and we're going to grow a lot more in the future. But most of all, it's your story. So that was something else that I wanted to share with you. There are a couple other things that were in my written speech, and I'm running through in my head right now to recall those. But one of them that I wanted to talk about, I don't need to look. It's in there somewhere. Even though I'm getting old, I did used to do the lawyer thing, so I can still pretty much think on my feet, I hope. Anyway, one of the things that I shared is I said, you know, I've been doing a lot of happy talk up until now, and I have. But I also said, I want to admit to you that it's not all happy. That when you hit the world, when you actually start to get out there into your careers and so forth, you're going to hit some obstacles. The doctors are going to find that everything, all the resources are not available, and people are kind of tired, and government support isn't there as well. Those of you who are involved in agriculture are going to realize that the challenges are great, and those of you who teach will find that all of the schools don't have the resources they should. And when you go out and you meet, you're going to meet some people that are tired and worn out, and they're going to try to tell you you're tired and worn out too. And for those of you who have thought about it, and I know some of you have, you're going to say, why am I here? Why didn't I get, I've got a good education. Why didn't I, move to the United States or Europe or something and do it easier? The fact that you see all those challenges and know that things are not easy is what's going to distinguish you. It's those of you who stare in the face of that, not because you're naive, but because you're informed and understand that these challenges are important, and that you prove your mettle by rising to those challenges. That is the kind of change that and giving back that that we're trying to encourage. So I want to be honest with you and tell you it won't be easy. One of the other things that I want to mention, which is a little less inspirational, a little bit more nuts and bolts, but it's important, especially for those of you who are a little newer to the program, because you're really at the point where we have a very important part of what WMI is. One of the things that completely distinguishes us from any other organization like our own. There are other organizations that give scholarships in the developing world, in the South, or whatever you want to call nations that have bigger challenges nowadays. But one of the things that we do is we don't let you go. We stick with you. And our community development grant program that's run by Bonnie Mark allows for alumni scholars and scholars that are getting near the end of their education to apply for a community development grant of $1,000. $1,000 is not all the money in the world, but it is the ability to take something you're passionate about, and it can be anything. It can be a nonprofit in your community. It can be, and usually should be, what you're most interested in studying, but it can be a business if you want to start a business, and develop a grant and make a proposal to us to be funded. Here's the good news. We don't just give money. What we do is we really analyze your grant. Bonnie Mark, and with some assistance from others, but mostly himself, will help you plan a business, plan things, understand how to ask for money and how to do these things. So we develop expertise along the way of doing that. And if you're successful, you can apply for our larger grants, for $5,000 for people who've been successful in the first grant. Now, you think, oh, that sounds like a good thing. Well, it is a good thing. And you know how many of those we've given? 200. 200 of those. Out of the 1,000 people, there's 200 of them. And here's something that even more extraordinary than that. Do you know how many people our conservative estimate, have been directly impacted by the things that have been created. Now, some of those are relatively small, you know, maybe they want to educate, do a program in the school system, and it might be 8 or 10 people. But all total, on those 200 grants, 87,000 people have been directly impacted by that program that we run, and it's only open to WMI scholars. Now, that's 87,000 people. We're not some gigantic international organization. So, and that program gives me a beautiful segue to brag and tell you how our organization works and commend it to you others. If you get good people around you, you can be like Papa Thomas. I'm an idea factory. I come up with crazy ideas. Carol can tell you this more than anybody. I'll say, oh, let's do this. Let's move here. Let's buy this. Let's do that. And she has to run around trying to make sense out of it. Well, when I first came up with the community development grant idea, do you know who I asked to run that program to make that start to turn into something real? Anyone want to guess? Nicole. And she ran that program. And she did an extraordinary job. And as extraordinary as she did, you know who took over for her? Bonnie Mark. So here's the credit I'll take. Not a bad idea, Tom, but having the right people involved and passionate to deliver on that. And now we're all the beneficiaries of that. So I want to take a minute to say extra special thanks to you, Bonnie Mark. Stand up, buddy. And even though this guy's worked so hard together with Liz on this conference, make him crazy with all the applications that you all think up with after this conference. So he'll be telling me next time, oh my gosh, do you know how many applications we got? Isn't that great? Anyway, another message. All right. I have 2 more things I'm going to say, and then I'll be all done. And then we can eat, because now I could see a few people I didn't see anybody falling asleep, but I see a few that, because they're too hungry and they fall asleep. Normally by now she starts doing one of these things. Here are the 2 more things I want to say. I told you a few minutes ago, I'm very much about giving back. But this year's theme is, and Nicole used different words, but said the same thing. It's building forward. Now, what does building forward mean? Giving back is a sense of gratitude. You've had some advantages and you want to give back. And that's a really good thing. And I encourage you to give back always. But building forward is a slightly different concept. It's saying, instead of just giving back, be a builder, an architect, a founder, where you take a problem, whatever it may be, whatever you're passionate about, and think outside the box. Try to say, how can I look at the system itself and get better? So if I'm a doctor or a nurse and I'm out there in the clinic and I'm working on helping patients is a wonderful way to give back, and having that clinic. But coming up with a solution that gets an even better way of treating people, that's building forward. So if you're in agriculture and you're helping a bunch of farmers do a little bit better and be more successful, great. But coming up with something that starts to look at the whole system and come up with a bigger way, that's building forward. If you're in computers and IT, it's saying, okay, I have a good job and I do my job well. That's not bad. That's giving back. Building forward is coming up with a way to make our whole society a little bit better. So I want to encourage all of you to, I've been telling you forever, you got to give back. Now Papa Tom says, could you give back and build forward too? So I'm adding a dimension to it. It's the same thing, but I'm telling you, give from what you learned and the blessings that you have and build forward. So that's the other thing I wanted to say to you. Now, the final thing you've already heard from me a lot of different ways, but this is the personal side. The personal side is everybody comes to a time in their life where they think, you know, what am I doing? And you go through a few of those times. They talk sometimes about a quarter life crisis. I don't know any of you guys up to that yet. There's certainly something called a midlife crisis, and in a sense, WMI is Tom's midlife crisis. Is that possible? I didn't have a crisis. I actually didn't. But I hit a point in my 50s. That's already pretty old for most of you. Think 50 is pretty old. But I had been a successful lawyer and a successful businessman. Because of that, I won cases. I opened businesses. I had reached a level of financial security that meant that I didn't need to worked terribly hard for the rest of my life, and I could take pretty good care of my family. Not perfect. My kids have to work hard too. I mean, we're not wealthy by any means, but things were good. And I said to myself, and this is the personal side, is it enough? And I said, nah, it's not enough. I could do more. And that's where WMI came from. And it came from one simple person. Some of you know her story, but I'll tell it. Victoria Galley was from Ghana. She lived in a little village near the Togo border. And she was the host sister of my daughter Jordan when Jordan went and spent a semester in Ghana. And she was the daughter of the chief, of the third wife of the chief. So she came from that kind of a family. She happened to be a Christian, even though the chief was not, and met her. And Jordan was getting ready to go to college the next year. And Victoria had done very well in school, but and had good grades and ambition, but didn't have the money to go to school. And it was actually Jordan who came to me and said, Dad, you know, I want you to pay for my college, but could we help Victoria too? And I said, yes, we could. So I did. That was what I did. Victoria was the beginning of WMI. First year, way back 2005, one scholar, Victoria, Tom. And what did I think at that time? I thought, okay, success would be Victoria goes to school and graduates and successful. Well, it turned out that wasn't success. Success was bigger than that. The next year, we had 3 more scholars. One of them was Victoria's brother, so it was a little different in those days. You just sort of needed to know Papa Tom or maybe Jordan. But we didn't have such a formal application. But by the second year, we did have an application, and then it grew, and it grew. So somewhere along the line, I became we, and we became all of you. And now we're in a very different spot. And I can ask you, I want you to do me a favor here. I've been doing all the work right now. I want you to take a minute right now and just look around the room. Remember the people I told you to notice before? Don't look at them. This time you don't look at them. I want you to look at each other. I want you to look around, and I want you to look into a few faces of people here. I mean it. Really do it. Okay. I see people doing it. Well, what did you see? You didn't just see faces. What you saw is better education, better computers, better medical treatment, building forward. That's what we're about. That's what we've become. That's where Victoria became all of you. That's what makes us unique and special. That's what I do every year for these 4 years, is remind you how special you are to all of us, and how by one step at a time, take a look at those 12 principles and know that you have within yourself the ability to accomplish so much. What'll happen at DBC if it works well? And I know it will because they did such a good job planning it. You're going to get some more education because we got great presenters that you're going to go to workshops and you're going to learn stuff. And that's going to be valuable. Even more important, you're going to talk with each other, and you're going to see that because you're from 23 different countries, that while you are very different, you're also kind of the same, because almost every one of you has been indoctrinated at least a little bit by us already, which is you're studying hard, you care about learning, and you care about giving back. So you're going to see that similarity. And that magic is what WMI is. We're celebrating 20 years. I'm going to close by saying this. Why don't we look ahead for just a minute and think about those same people whose faces you looked at a few minutes ago? Just take a minute and think about them. Not just yourself, but those other people, and say, where will they be in 2046? That's 20 years from now. What can they accomplish? And I think you guys can accomplish a lot. I say that based on because I want you to, because Papa Tom is optimistic. Yeah. But based on your track record, I think you can accomplish a lot and make the world a better place. I truly believe that. So I believe that in 20 years from now, there will be tens of thousands of people with better educations because of the people in this room. There will be so many people who are healthier and better taken care of because of the medical. In agriculture, we'll have found solutions. In IT and computers, we will have found things, and things will happen. I also believe that 20 years from now, when you come to this conference, which I won't be here because I'll be gone by then, but one of those keynote addresses, you know who